Well, good morning, Crossing Church, and to everyone who's watching online. If we haven't had a chance to meet yet, my name is Justin Chandler. And maybe you're seeing this video because it's been shared by a family member or a friend or a coworker. One of the things we've been doing throughout the summer is we have a series called Lemons to Lemonade, and we've been looking at some of the different aspects of our life where we've been handed a lemon this year, and we're trying to see how can we turn that into something good. And so we've been looking through that each and every week, and then on Monday we've just been having a chance to have a continuing conversation about that. And so today we're going to continue our conversation this weekend around like finances and some of the lemons that all of us have been dealt through that. And so here's what I'd love for you to do. If you have a Bible, if you could open up to Ecclesiastes chapter 5, that's the verse we're going to read. And I'll set that up kind of while you're turning there. A lot of what Andrew shared this weekend came from Luke chapter 12. It was a parable that Jesus had shared. And the parable centered around this man who, as he was storing up some of his own wealth, he realized he didn't have any more room. And so his thought was like, hey, I'm going to build something bigger so I can store even more. And Jesus' statement to him was like, hey, you don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. So why are you continuing to store up in more and more ways, not ever knowing when it's going to be called for? And as we were kind of going through the weekend message, Andrew shared from Ecclesiastes chapter 5, and someone had said like, oh, Ecclesiastes, like that's not really uplifting at all. And it was a chance for our conversation to start there. And Ecclesiastes is one of my favorite books in the Bible because of the perspective that it brings. And I'm hopeful that even as we share this one little verse and continue kind of what Andrew shared this weekend, that it'll do the same for you. So Ecclesiastes chapter 5, verse 10, here's what it says. It says, whoever loves money never has enough. Whoever loves wealth is never satisfied with their income. This too is meaningless. And that's where the heart of this person came through, like this too is meaningless. And the reason why is in Ecclesiastes, in almost every segment of life and success and pursuit, this author just was like, hey, that's meaningless too. And that's meaningless too. And that's meaningless too. And I don't know if you've ever had that feeling about life or if you've ever had moments like that. But if someone just came up to you and was like, well, that's meaningless too. And that's meaningless too. Like you would probably say, man, that's a real downer, right? And one of the things that I find intriguing about this book is as Solomon, the king who wrote it, had a chance to kind of survey all the things that people would pursue, he looked at it and said like, hey, if I got the most of that, like I found that was meaningless too and it didn't satisfy. And if I got the most of that, I found like it was meaningless too and it didn't satisfy. And even when it came to wealth, like he had a chance to get as much as possible on the planet and he realized that was meaningless. And the reason why I find this to be intriguing or why I love this book so much and the perspective it brings is the reason it says that it's meaningless is an analogy that this book uses is it's like it's chasing the wind. And I don't know if you've ever tried to chase the wind before, right? You could send your kids out into the backyard today as a little exercise time and have them chase the wind as it blows. The reality is they're never going to catch it. Like you don't know where it comes from, you don't know where it goes, and you're never going to be able to grab hold of it. And so to run around chasing the wind would be meaningless. And so what he says about wealth and income in this particular one, amongst others, would be, hey, that if your love of money is the pursuit of your life, you're going to find like you're chasing after the wind. And if we even just survey some of what we know of like modern history, we know that that's true. Like you could look at the wealthiest people in the world, and there's still this other thing that they're chasing, despite how much that they have. And we could look to some of the most marginalized sectors of our world and would say that there's still some pursuit and running after there, that like if the love of money is what it comes to, then we're always going to find like we're chasing and we never have enough. And that's probably how you felt. Like you could even say like living where we live and having what we have, like there's times where it just doesn't feel meaningless to you too. And sometimes it's because we framed our life around just the love of money. And what I really appreciated about this weekend is it wasn't money that was the issue, right? Or it wasn't what we buy that's the issue. Ultimately, it was how we view what we have. And the line that Andrew shared with us this weekend is that our money has a mission, right? And the mission isn't for us to gain more. The mission isn't for us to build more. The mission isn't for us to have more. Like our money has a way to make a tangible difference in the lives of people. And so we introduced this weekend that over the next couple of weeks, we're looking to provide 500 sets of noise-canceling headphones to the students of Pomona Elementary. That's one for every student in that school to have a chance to step into distance learning in one of the most tangible ways possible, to provide noise-canceling headphones, noise-canceling microphone, and for anybody who's done any form of distance learning, you know how valuable that would be. And so we said as a church, like, hey, we want to set them up for this year. And whether you find yourself feeling like you're scraping to get by, or you're saying like, hey, I have so much, I'm going to start to build some more. Every one of us could say, man, we could step into that. And we together as the Crossing, our money could make a difference. Our money has a mission. And when we see that, we start to love what we can do. We start to love what we can contribute together. And we start to see that the things we've been provided and gifted with, there's a purpose behind each one of them. And so I'd love for you to step into that with us. You'll see a link in the comment that you can jump onto. It's an easy way for you to be a part of that. But the other thing I want to encourage you in too is like, so much of what I thought about today stemmed from a comment that someone had posted in one of our weekend services. And so my encouragement is, as you're watching with us, as you're kind of viewing online, jump into the comments, post things, because you never know when you're going to catch a feature on a Monday morning, or the way that you connect via a comment is going to help to spur somebody else. And so for those of you who've been watching online, I hope you're dropping some comments right now too. I'm so thankful that you spent a little bit of your morning or the later part of your day with me whenever you're viewing this. And I look forward to seeing you more online this week and again this weekend as we continue our series. Have a great day.